Hello everyone, welcome to the Headhunter with me, Laban Cliff. Today a different sort of Headhunter show where we're coming to you from the Serena Hotel. Why? Because KCB Group has just released their half-year results and we have the gentleman who's at the helm of the bank to talk to us about that and also just about his leadership journey as well as we progress. The man I'm talking about is none other than Mr. Paul Russo, Group CEO at KCB Group. Thank you, sir, for being here.
Great being here, Laban.
90 days in your leadership journey. How has it been so far?
Exciting. 90 days just fly like that. Yeah. It was just the other day. I think the first days is about building, a collegiate working environment, building relationships in many ways, but also being clear and providing clarity about not only just who you are, how you'd want things done, and more about people exploring and testing you. Yeah.
So in a few days, we'll be looking at your 100-day scorecard. How will that look like?
So I'm anchoring my plans around, customer obsession, culture built around hunger, and culture, that pillar for me is around execution, getting things done when they need to be done, the fastest way they can be done, obviously in the right way. So I would like, first 100 days to see that the transition was smooth in so many ways. That is always nervousness for many people. At the end of the day, you're in banking, you'll be measured around numbers.
True. And we can actually talk into the numbers.
And definitely, at the heart of a banking also, over and above numbers, is talent and how you build talent.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, those things are going to be at the core.
I'm saying about the numbers because recently you just released your half-year results wow, it's for everyone to see that not so bad performance, to be honest. What do you anchor this strong performance on?
I must say, KCB is a solid entity. We've been running on a 3-year strategy, dubbed Beyond Banking Strategy. So it's delivering those results, and being an insider, exactly know what we did to deliver those results. You probably have seen the regional businesses in the results that were released, starting to show up and to come through, and I think we are proud on what the strategy is delivering, but there are a number of areas also we think we should have done a lot better.
Just before we shift out from the numbers, what's your strategy for the next half year in terms of just continuing to grow that profitability?
So I think if you look at our top line and you're seeing that is progressing, we have a number of initiatives that we must implement. We've built propositions and new capabilities, talents around trade finance. We've built opportunities, from a digital banking model. So commercializing those initiatives with our clients is going to be important. But addressing the NPL, and you'll see the bigger portion is in KCB Kenya, is going to be critical. And so deploying specialist teams, to find the right solutions, working with KCB Capital to solution that is going to be very important. But we are also getting into a new 3-year cycle, so we're going into the planning process for the next 3 years. So I'm bullish around it, seeing the resilience of the core market that we operate in Kenya. So seeing a lot of digitization, a lot of actions of what we had planned to do, but as well as resolving the NPL debts.
Okay. Any new areas for business you're seeing, especially now we're just coming out from an election? Has that presented any unique opportunities that KCB might want to jump onto?
I think at the end of the day is how you partner with elected leaders. I always say those manifestos and the promises that have been given at every single level of election are actually very relevant. So the question is, how do you partner to be able to deliver that? You know, so we will be there. We are everywhere in the country, whether partnering with governors, members of parliaments in different frameworks, as well as the national government, to be able to support in that delivery. But for me, I think micro and medium enterprises and women is one area that we need to get involved in dignifying businesses. Because we've seen SME has been more resilient, by the way. The COVID environment has shown us, contrary to what people believed before, SMEs have been more resilient. So we need to support that sector. So digitizing that sector is also very important.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. Let's shift from the numbers, and I know our viewers and, of course, the Headhunter have gotten really good feedback as well from, you know, people who'd like to go the career journey and really understand how did these leaders make it. So just talk to us. You're now CEO. Did it come by surprise? You know, people use different terms, whether you are MD or you are CEO. You know, I think moving this role doesn't come as a surprise. Maybe not KCB, but I've worked my career in the last few years towards a CEO role. And I've never in my career built a target of next role or my aspiration in the next step around an organization. And I've advised people to do this. You work out your career next phase from a definition of a role or a space on what you want to do. Yeah.
So, you know, you start from, you know, the entry level. You start from thinking about leading teams. You can lead teams in that organization or lead teams in other. Then you go and start leading, you know, entities. Then you become a leader of leaders. Then you become leader, just not of leaders anymore, but leader of enterprises. Because leaders in those enterprises are leading leaders. So in many ways, from a career setup, and I can't refer you to any textbook in HR, you got to coin it as you go.
Yeah.
Is you must define your career path. And a lot that I say on Career Lattice model, from experiences that you want to build and what you want to do next. So once you become an MD of NBK, for example, because at that time I was looking for experiences for what I would call P&L responsibility. So the next natural step is then you want to be at a CEO level. So not surprising, it wasn't a KCB build on my career. You don't plan, you know, as I think the people who say they plan their careers meticulously.
Which is
you gotta build experiences and be ready when it happens.
Because the normal way, if I may, and I know after during your Strathmore Business School days where you had got your MBA, is that whole career lattice model you mentioned, and it is not normal because everyone just says, you know what, it's a standard way, you know, 2 years here, 2 years there, 2 years there, but in your side, you say, you know what, just have an open mind and just see how these whole balls play out. It's easier said than done.
So I think, and this now I can refer to textbook. so every single role requires certain competencies.
Yeah.
And, you know, Laban, how do you define a competence? Simply, it's the skills, knowledge, and attributes required to deliver, to do a job at a certain standard. Right? So an organization sets competencies required to be able to deliver a job at a certain minimum standard. Now, your role in career is to have aspirations But to start here today to say what competencies do I build to be ready when that role, right? Now, those competencies are not built on a ladder model. So, because you don't determine first where you start. Sometimes you find yourself, you got out of campus and there's a job you've started and you take that job.
Yeah.
But the next steps must be thought out.
Yeah.
So, and that's career lattice. So today I say, I'm here. I can actually take a side step to build certain competencies because I know how it adds up to where I want to go. So many times, if you check my CV, it's been building competencies.
Yeah.
And I think people think it just happens by accident.
Yeah.
But there's a risk. This is the problem in building competencies. Right? You must be willing to take the risk. Because as you move to take the receiver manager, somebody else is doing the HR job.
True.
And that is a short-term job.
Yeah.
So you must know what value is going to come through from your competencies.
Yeah.
Because there's a chance you will not come to that job. And look what happened to me. I ended up coming back and I was Group Regional Business Director.
Yeah.
It was a new job.
Will you say that was a turning point in your career? I mean, being called to actually, help a bank in crisis, you must have grown a lot of white hair when you left.
And if you look, I've taken a lot of risk in my career. And it is one of those opportunities that I'm forever grateful.
Yeah.
You can be invited with different criteria, but you must show up. This is what I tell people.
Yes.
Right? You can choose that it's a lower job, you don't no longer go to exco meetings because you're on that side.
Yeah.
But you show up, because that's going to determine your future. So I guess at many instances what I said to people, it doesn't matter what job you get, but in the first instance, show up fully on that one. Then think about what you're going to do next.
Yeah. Not half-heartedly, or you're not quite sure about what step to take. And I think it's quite interesting because even you look at your profile, and I think we've shared that with our viewers as well, you even took a risk, moving out of the country, had a stint in Tanzania, had a stint in South Africa. I think that also kind of helped in trying to prepare for this, leading such a business that is also operating regionally.
Absolutely. I think the first people underrate the cultural sensitivities in driving performance. In multiple geographies. So working with Barclays in the various markets that I've worked in gave me that opportunity with the right training, not just by chance. So I'm forever grateful to Barclays for those opportunities and the leaders that were there to support.
Yeah.
But it is very important for you when you sit as a leader and you understand the market that you are in is not what the other market is. And why? It's because everything is around people. Their values determine how you... So if you come with your values of group and you want to deploy the same values across the businesses, there's nothing wrong. But the how you do it is so important because it determines whether you are ever going to embed them or not.
Yeah.
So that for me has worked very well.
Yeah. We'll take a short break. When we come back, Paul, I just want to delve a bit deeper, especially in your move to the corner office. It's not always that they say HR folks go to the corner office. That's something we will talk about. We'll talk about Career Lattice. And there's a book that's just been launched about execution. And I know as a leader, is execution the only bit, or there are other things that keep you awake at night in terms of getting results out of your people? Stay tuned to The Headhunter. You don't get these guests anywhere else other than this show. We'll be back. Hello there, welcome back to The Headhunter with me, Laban Cliff, coming to you from the Serena Hotel. Today we've had a guest who I must say is one I've always wanted to have on The Headhunter, based off on his journey and also based off on past experiences that have actually led to him being appointed as a group CEO and MD at the KCB group. So we discussed a lot about the numbers. You know, being a bank, of course, we have to look at the zeros and where the decimals are. And after that, of course, we looked at his journey and his agenda for the bank and because his leadership. Right now, we want to look at his leadership style and also, you know, the focus and guidance, especially to, you know, executives who would like to come into the space you're in. So let's get this out of the window. Number one, HR professional to the corner office. You've proved it's possible. Why do many think that HR folks cannot go for the CEO role?
No, I think Laban, it depends on what experiences people have had on what is called HR. So HR has had different definitions from what is in the book versus what is practiced in organizations. Mm-hmm. So if your HR is about show cause letters and your HR is about whether the file is complete, whether the leave application form is in place, then that HR is not going to be a CEO. Mm-hmm. If I joke and say if it is going to check who clocked in and who clocked out, yes, then you are running a police function. Yeah. HR is about broadly about business partnerships. For you to be a business partner, you must be commercially aware. Mm-hmm. You have to be a trusted advisor. I think it is David Ulrich that pointed out those roles. But the third one is a change agent, right? And the fourth pillar is the HR operations. It's doing. So the first three that I've mentioned of the four pillars of HR are so critical in running a business that if you build on that, you're on the right path. Mm-hmm. But as you do that, you're building your commercial acumen. So you've got to take a step out of it and be deliberate about building your commercial acumen. But like I've told many people, and you know, you must know how to run your kiosk before you think, yeah, you know, to run a business. Yeah. Those competencies, how to be able to take care of your shilling, how to know that your milk will expire tomorrow and you'll need to still have to sell, otherwise you'll donate to a children's home, are competencies that you have to build and before, yeah, you come into this role. But I also say at the heart of running an organization is people. So as a leader, you will never have competencies required in every single function or technical competence. So, you know, you'll never be the IT expert. And if you're the IT expert that is appointed as CEO, you are not the CFO, mm-hmm, you are not the treasurer, mm-hmm, you are not the retail director, the corporate director has competencies. So therefore, the heart of running an entity is, in today's world, yeah, is people and technology. Mm-hmm.
Especially technology now, we're talking about, you know, post-COVID era. That's,
and those that run technology are people.
Yeah. Yes.
So to be a successful leader is ability to bring together subject matter experts, mm-hmm, in those fields, right? And create a high-performing team. That's your role. Mm-hmm. They come onto the table with their own competencies, with their own experiences, track record.
Yeah.
Why should they work for you?
Mm-hmm. What is in it for them, or?
That's what you need to create for, yeah, them. Once you answer that question, yeah, they show up. No one comes to the workplace wanting to underperform, mm-hmm, by the way. Mm-hmm. Right? So you as a leader should be able to raise them to be able to deliver at the highest, mm-hmm, both at individual level and as a team. Mm-hmm. That's my core job. course.
It's quite interesting because those skills and those learnings from, you know, that people management is, you know, a core in your role right now, where you have, you know, a leader, CEO who still has a hat and understands that, yes, it's people and technology that has to drive this. You mentioned execution on part one of this show. Is that for you the charm to get things done? Maybe what is leading you, or what else are you driving leadership nudges? Let's start from execution.
If you check any of my assessments by any professional, top of the list will always is I'm highly execution biased.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not a cliche. You can copy and paste strategies. But those entities that succeed are those that execute. So you have to build, you know, a DNA organization. Because, you know, execution goes with hunger, goes with passion, right? It goes with understanding of the end in mind. It goes with relationships, because you have to pull people together to deliver that. You just can't deliver on your own, right? So execution encompasses a lot, but it takes a strategy from theory to practice. And that's the difference. So for me, you can be as good as you are, you can make PowerPoint presentations, that's fine, but for heaven's sake, just put it on the table.
Let me try and sneak another one. I think your bit, and I think your leadership mantra about showing out is more of courage. So is courage also one of the key aspects maybe you actually look for in your next hire?
I use the word boldness.
Boldness, it is.
Yeah? If average will not take you anywhere. And being bold comes with risks. But risks pay. Right? Risk give reward.
Yeah.
But I always say, as leaders, you need to have space to allow people to make those mistakes. And I said to my people, it's okay to make mistakes, but you know, look for the right support, have the right conversations, and go for it, right? So it's an informed mistake.
An informed mistake, yeah.
Not just an amateur and you wake up and you decide I'm pressing this button and no, I'm not talking about those mistakes.
Yes.
Is we've got to an 80% level of confidence, we've said leave alone the 20, we are going live.
Yeah.
We've decided.
Yeah.
We give it a try.
100%.
You will always be in a better position than another person who is still doing it, because you take your lessons and fix and go.
Yeah.
It's what gives people the hunger to go. So execution for me is at the heart of all. It's what we can both have the same information, right? And you go first, and I'm still dilly-dallying here, and you'll be seen as an innovator, right? But we both had the same information at the same time.
Yes. And then you just went ahead and
just makes a difference, right?
Got it done.
And then somebody will write, oh, Laban innovated. But we both had the same set of data, same set of instructions.
Yeah.
So you decide whether you want to be ahead or...
And then stay and go for it. Basically, the hunger.
Then you must develop thick skin, because if you do that, you will come under serious attacks.
Yeah. Then we always ask our guests on the Headhunter, what are the top 3 aspects you look for or you hunt for?
So
your next hire, of course.
Yeah, I think for me, I think it's overrated by hire for attitude. Genuine desire to do the job, genuine desire to improve, you know, and an individual's value. See, people talk about technical competence. So the reason why technical, I'm not even saying that you don't hire for technical, but it's the minimum entry requirement. So, and none of us is perfect in our technical. But if you are not fit, right, from a values perspective, And it's not my values, it's organization values.
Yes. Yeah.
You could be very good for another organization, but you will come here and the values of the organization clash with your values or the values you built, and you'll be frustrated.
It's more of a cultural, so a cultural fit.
Yeah, you've got to get a fit. Sometimes people ask, why do you take number 1, number 2, and not number 1? You know the team you're hiring for, and you've got to get a fit of a person who is going to be successful in that setup.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're looking for a disruptor. Team is too comfortable. Just wanted.
Or to, get somebody to rejig and add some...
Not somebody who just comes in and...
the usual same thing
Yeah.
across, Paul, it really pains me that we have to get to the tail end of this interview because more and more, there are lots of insights and lots of, leadership nudges that you give. I would still want to have you on board. I hope we can have you again on the Headhunter. To a last question now would be, when that chapter comes or when that end, comes of that book, which is the book of the Paul Russo at the helm of Kenya's largest bank in asset base. What do you want them, or what do you want the readers at the time to read about your leadership during your tenure?
You're in the space of executing at the moment. On top, I've always, and not just for this role, I always want people to remember that I was a human being. And in every interaction, there was humanity. That for me, then I can't trade off that. I can be difficult. I can be ruthless in execution. There's nothing personal. So, I just want that people can say, Paul, thank you. It was okay. We worked hard. Sometimes it was difficult.
Yeah.
But you left my human side intact.
Yeah.
That for me, that will count. Those people give you water in the streets, as we say in our community, and that's more important than anything else.
Yeah.
Numbers
Yes.
will come with or without Paul, but you'll be judged from your leadership point of view. Right?
Yeah.
If you go and ask a teller, so how was Paul? And I don't supervise. I would like them to say he was a leader, he was human.
He was a leader at heart, and he also managed to impact myself as well. What a good place to end it.
That's it.
Paul Russo, asante sana.
Thank you.
Shukran. Thank you so
Asante
much for
sana.
your time and for always creating time for the Headhunter.
Thank you.
We're already glad to have none other than Mr. Paul Russo, who has been with us sharing his leadership insights. And of course, particularly on the Headhunter, I think it really fits the bill because he's one man who's actually proven that you can come in from HR and go right straight into the corner office. A man I must say, really look up to as well. Thank you very much to the Serena Hotels for hosting us today. Thank you so much to Tech Production as well for partnering with us in this production. We look forward to many more of leadership insights such as this, of course, in partnership with Paul and the entire KCB Group. Goodbye for now.